Okay, hello guys. Welcome to another video on my journey using Nest. And on this video, we're going to be covering user submission, or what I mean by user submission is, when a new person is trying to make a new account. That's for especially like in an app like Job24, where um, having your account matters because it's not just a game app or something like that. In Job24, your account matters because it holds the history to like who you spoke to and what kind of job you take in and what your rating is as an employer or a employee, stuff like that. So user submission or account creation basically in the app, we'll be covering how it was done in this job, in Job24, and how it was, and how it was done on Nest. So right now, as you can see, it's just the same as usual, the same background and all that stuff on the form. And this time around, we'll be using multiple forms because usually account creations take more than one form because you got to choose like what kind of account in this case, and then there's like terms and policies and stuff like that. This will be the first page. I'm making the first page right now, and right now I just put in the label, which will be where I put in text and like kind of like directions, because when you make a new account, it says like, oh, please provide password, confirm password, and like email address, and you just have to provide information. There's like little directions. If each space was blank, then no one would really know what to do. So you have to provide directions for where your users that are trying to make accounts are going to be well, they're going to need directions in order to input the correct information. So as you can see, I put it in the label and put in the text, select account type, because there's two types of accounts in this case for Job24, because there's an employer account, which is a business owner or something like that, and there's a employee account, and employee is obviously someone that's looking for a job. Okay, so I know I repeat a lot of the things I say, like properties and editing and all that stuff, but that's because Nest is all about editing. It's all about customization and getting your application to look like what you want it to look like. You gotta be editing everything. Everything it's basically it's your drawing board, and you get to decide what size things are and how they look. So right now we're gonna put in a select box, and the select box component, it's not like the text box component, although it kind of seems like it because it's a white rectangular box. It's not. It's select box, as you can guess from the name of it. It's a it gives you options. So like the account type I mentioned, the two account types, you could put in like you could input your options in there so that users can choose. Like they'll click on the little white text box, and then there will be like a drop down menu, and then they can pick which one they want to use. So like a business owner would be like, oh, I need to make an account for myself so I can advertise my business, or so I can get some employees. So they would create a employer account, and someone that's looking for work would make an employee account. That's pretty self-explanatory. And just like anything else, the select box is edited, and so that it has that look that you want. And these looks and like these components, they're going to get better and better as Nest grows, I believe, because the more like I mentioned last video, the more developers that join, the more components there'll be, and there'll be more selections, and more selections means, you know, a variety of more applications, and you'll be able to, well, I'll be able to, and other people that can't code and don't have real experience developing applications, the traditional method like programming and coders and all that stuff, they'll be able to make it'll make a huge impact on them, because they'll be able to make applications with all these components, and there'll be a variety of them. So they'll be able to make a large variety of applications, and they'll be able to make it the way they want it to look. Like, as long as they have that vision of what kind of application they want, they'll be able to do it after, you know, some determination on learning how Nest works. I know this is the third video, and I hopefully by now that uh, if you have been looking through 1 and 2 and this is your third video, hopefully you have a better concept on how Nest is running, and how I went about, you know, actually teaching myself this. And okay, right now, as you can see, I'm putting in the selections for I'm putting the selections for the select box, so that when the users log in, they can find it. I mean, obviously, so they can choose it, right? Select box. Okay, and then yeah, and then that's fine for employment, okay, blah blah, and then that's the next button, because, you know, we have to go to a different page now, a different form, so that that's where users, after selecting what kind of account they want, they'll be putting in the information that they need to provide, and we'll be attaching an event to the button, obviously, so that it goes over to the next form. Okay, so let's save and then create a new form. Let's do this. A new form for the next page, where we will be putting in the information. Registration information. That's why it's called the register form. Or I have it labeled as the register form. That's because in the JOB24 app sample application, I think they also had it labeled as the register form, and I just did everything up to the letter the same as they did, and it helped me, and hopefully looking at this is going to help you also. So first of all, I started just the same way as I did the other form. I got the button, and I got the X button, which is the back button, because, you know, sometimes maybe you chose wrong, maybe the user chose wrong and they didn't mean to choose for employer and they meant to choose for employee. Then they can press the X button, which will be which will have the event to go backwards to the previous page. I really like that about this, that you can choose how you want your buttons to look like. You know, like you see the other applications, and everyone's always just like using the original backspace button. I mean the back arrow button, but you can just choose whatever button you want to do. And in the JOB24 app, they obviously use the X button, which you don't see, or at least I didn't see very much of, and that's for going back. Okay, and then now I will be adding in more panels like usual, and now a text box. And this is the registration form, so that's why there are text boxes. Text box is for the information they're gonna put in. It's not the select box, because the information is gonna vary way too much in the registration form, right? Because it's not everyone's gonna have the same name, or like three types of names, and we can't put in all the names possible and anything like that. So you just put it in a text box, so they can enter in their own names, or enter in their names and other information, And oh, I just made a mistake right there. I accidentally copied the JOB24 logo as well. I just wanted to copy the panel with the text box in it so that I don't have to edit the size and dimensions and all that stuff for the other text boxes that I need for that will be collecting other information. Okay, so I need to organize this out a little bit. I need to. The button is kind of in an awkward place right now. I need to move that over, and yeah, I'm gonna be doing that through the outline. Yeah, see, that's another good thing about the outline. You really want to utilize that outline. You can move over components, and it's just easier sometimes. Well, at least it's easier for me all the time to just do it on the outline, because you can just, it's something I'm used to doing, you know. It's a lot easier than doing it on the form, because then you have to actually like see carefully where it's gonna go. Well, in this one, you just guess which panel it's going to be in, and then you just do it. It's like trial and error kind of thing, and that button became the register button. And then I just added the checkbox, you know, for when you check something in or don't check something out. Don't Yeah, the checkbox, like to show that, oh yeah, I did it. Like, you know, when you make an account, a lot of the times there's like the terms and policies or whatever, and there's I agree or disagree, and then there's like a little checkbox next to them. Well, it's basically the same thing, except this one is just going to have one checkbox, and it's going to be checked in if they agree and not checked in if they don't agree. In which that case they won't be able to, you know, make an account. And then there's the other button that I just put in is the privacy and terms button. It's gonna locate. It's gonna be an event set to locate to a page where it displays the privacy and terms, obviously. So they can click on it before agreeing, and then they can read through the privacy and terms, and then X back, which is because it's the back button. They can press the X button on that page after clicking privacy and terms, and come back to the registration page, and they can continue putting in their information and press the checkbox if they agree, and then register their account. And for account registration, just like the login form we did in the second video, we're gonna need alert messages, because we're gonna have to tell the user that if we are going to have to tell the user that they succeeded in creating the account. They can't just, you know, go to the next one and then just not have anything that shows that they have succeeded in creating an account. And if they are having trouble, you know, providing the correct information or the form itself, I mean, it's going to tell them like what exactly was put in and wrong, and what information that is still needed. So we need alert messages for that also. Like, let's say they put in an email account, and then they put in two different passwords, then that's not going to work, because one of them is a password and the other one is confirmed password. Because we want the user to know that this is your password, and you should really, you know, you should put it in twice just to make sure that you are putting in the right password that you want and that you can remember. So that's why there's the three text boxes. This registration form is fairly simple compared to others, I imagine, because I'm sure other registration forms require more information, like female, male, and like age and all that stuff. I've had gone through a couple registration forms like that. This is probably one of the simplest registration forms that I've seen, and I think it's nice. And then, as you can see next to the checkbox, there's in text, agree to privacy and terms. And so this is going, if they check it in, that means they agree to privacy and terms after, you know, viewing the privacy and terms in the other form. Okay. Now just now we passed it, but like I put in the validator and the Ajax, and we used that last video too. And I just put in the message boxes, which are the alert boxes. And if you remember, the the validator connects to the AJAX components, and then the message from that goes to the message box components, and that's what changed the events to so that when people put in the correct information and or the incorrect information, they get a message affirming that they did. Like if they put in the correct information, they registered, then they'll say, like, congratulations on your account has been made. Or if they put in the wrong password, it'll be like, please re-enter your password or something like that, or please re-enter your email. Those are the 3 alert messages. It's gonna be along those lines. Okay. Let me catch up a little bit here. Okay. So now, as I said before, the message box is going to be edited, and if you guys are having trouble keeping up with this, just pause at any time and just watch, because pausing is really going to help you really, and pausing and rewinding, pausing, rewinding, and playing is really going to help you get it down, because it's very easy once you actually see what's happening. I mean, once you get a small amount of like grasp, or once you understand it a little bit, you start being able to piece everything together for most component use and stuff like that on how to use Nest. Okay. Okay, and now we're on the validator properties, and I'm putting in the error and success because that's what it needs to validate with the AJAX. It needs to tell the AJAX if it was successful, or if there was an error of some reason, and yeah. And now we're looking at the workflow tab, and like I said before, I think the workflow tab is amazing because it really gives you that visual outlook, that visual map of how the events are stringed along and how it's working together, and it really simplifies things a lot. So you can choose to set your events in the workflow tab. I personally I don't have a huge preference, but since I'm here, I'm going to be setting the events, and we're using the tool called Flow. Oh, excuse me, and Flow is being used to direct the events on what to happen and when to happen, on what occasion, and what it should, and from which component it's coming from, and what's triggering it. Basically, that's what Flow can do. It directs, well, not directs, but it creates all that, because Flow is the event. Basically, it's the direction, and it connects the components together, and the forms are connected together by a link. Okay. So eventually we'll have to go to the privacy and terms page, where we're gonna show you the privacy and terms. But right now, just gonna keep checking the workflow components, because it's really important. It's vital that the events are all stringed along correctly. Okay. It seems like everything was good and saved and good. Alright, as you can see, there's still a lot of components that need to be used in this project. There's a lot, and eventually they're gonna all get their own they're all gonna get their own events directed. Okay. let's see what to do. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out what I need to do right now. Yeah, right. Okay. So for the validator, we need to select the target, and target is where it's, obviously where it's going to be acted upon. And so we'll be using the Ajax, or no, not the Ajax, but the text box, because that's where it's retrieving the information, right? The text box and password, text box confirm password, and text box email, the 3 text boxes that are available on the form. And yeah, see, there we go. Yeah. Okay, and it's going to compare to compare to values, yes, values, text box password values, and all the values it's going to be compared to. Well, not just for the confirm password, it's going to be compared to the text box, the first password box, because it's the confirm password box, so it needs to be compared to the first password box in order to make sure the confirm password box is the confirm password. And the message which will be displayed if if the email is not correctly used will be please enter your email address, or if they basically if they put in the wrong email, or like some kind of email format that's not accepted, or they don't put in an email at all and they try to register, then this message box is going to come up. And if they didn't enter a password, then please enter your password is going to come up. And then if the confirmed password is wrong, then it's going to be incorrect password. Okay, and then now we're doing a number 4th, because we want another message box saying, like showing that it's everything's worked. When the checkbox is signed in and all that stuff, and everything is no error messages came out, then we just want to make sure. Oh, okay. We want to make sure that everything worked. So we need a checkbox condition. Component. We already have one, but we need that to also have a message box event, because if they put in the right password and right ID, but they don't put in the correct, if they did not check into the checkbox, yes, if they did not put in the correct checkbox, if they did not accept the checkbox, then we can't let them create an account, and like the account shouldn't register, because they obviously have to agree to the terms and policies in order for it to be registered. Okay, and now we're gonna be dealing with the Ajax. And okay, since for this one we're gonna need the email and the password and the email, password. Was there? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So the email and password, and put that in, and then data store. We're using the data store to get the name and email and picture and all that stuff that registering usually needs, or wants. Okay, the design tab, we'll be going back to the design tab, because there's we need to add some more to the registration form, and we'll be putting in a, let me see, what should we put in? Type. No, we're just editing the form itself, the form's properties, because we needed the Ajax we needed the Ajax to be confirmed by the form itself. So like basically so that it initiates or it turns on when we turn flip to that form. And you need to direct the Ajax when it needs to be on and all that stuff with a lot of it, and that's true with a lot of events. A lot of events, or I mean, a lot of components require something to initiate it, or something to we need something to, what's the word, initiate, not initiate, uh, um, we need what's the word, we need the form, we need the Ajax to know when it has to be on. That's basically what it is. Because the Ajax has to be told when to gather this information, otherwise, I mean, it's not going to. And that's why we went to the form page and then we put, on initiation, we want the Ajax to be working. And that's with a lot of components. A lot of components need that because let's say you have a news gathering component, and you want it to only turn on during certain times, such as you want to turn on after you press next or after 30 seconds of the form or something like that, after like a timed turn on kind of thing, then you need to go to the forms and adjust all that. The form page, the main form page, if it's something that has to do with the main form page like the Ajax, because it has to start acquiring the information as soon as the form page changes to that page. And right now, as you can see, I'm putting in I'm simulating it, so to see if the right alert messages come up. And that's another good, really huge thing about the integrated simulator. You get to test out if the correct alert messages are coming up and how it looks on the screen and all that stuff. And so right now I'm going to test out that if the correct alert messages come up by like putting in the correct password and then putting in the password and then putting in the wrong confirmed password, and then see that was a plea, and then that's the unconfirmed, that's the when the confirmed password's wrong, you get that, and then when everything is right and nothing's checked in, it says please agree to the terms and policies, and then when everything is all good and you press register, then everything is accepted, and it says like congratulations, you've made the account. That's pretty common. Okay, so here is the workflow tab again, and we're just looking at that to check out, see if everything was working properly. So right now we're just adding another form to the application. That's what I was talking about before in the first video. When you're creating an application, it is a good idea to know how many forms, even from the beginning, that you need. But the thing about Nest is you can easily just add another form or remove a form, so it really doesn't matter, as long as it matters in the fact that you have a good idea, you have a better idea of how the application is gonna proceed. But it doesn't matter in the fact that even if you don't know and you're just coming up with new ideas for your application as you develop it, you can just add another form or delete another form, and editing is just very, very quick and easy, and that's a huge strong point about Nest. So right now we added that new form to make the terms and policy page, where we'll be having all the terms and policy and all the information regarding that when they click it after when they're about to register. And so we'll just take what I did for this part is the terms and policy. Obviously, I didn't write it out or anything like that, but I just used the terms and policy that was available from the sample JOB24 app. So you just set the form to how the terms and policy page would look like, and so we just got the header, and then we put the terms and policy and put the button for the back button, so you can go back to registering, finishing register, and then we titled it and set the dimensions correct for the text size and all that stuff. And then now we're linking the X button to go back. Like I said before, the X button on JOB24 is the back button, and that's really cool. I like that you can have your back button. Your back button basically doesn't have to be a backwards arrow button. It can be any icon. And as you can see, the terms and policy that showed up because we put in the URL where that information is kept. Okay, thanks. Well, okay. I think that's all for today. So I'll see you guys next time on video, I believe, 4. All right.